Hey guys, and in this video covering Concrete5, we're going to talk about theming. Now, if you don't know about the Concrete5 series, definitely go back and watch the previous two videos, because they are really fundamentals to get you started in Concrete5. I'm doing this series covering the Concrete5 CMS because you guys wanted more tech content, and I want to learn more things. So if you can't remember, I'm learning along with you as we go. So today what we're gonna talk about is custom theming, and I've actually created a base theme, stripped out all the only giving you the basics you need for Concrete5. It's HTML5 and it's available freely to the public on GitHub. So that's what we're going to be looking at. I'm just going to be stepping through each file. I'm going to be talking about what each bit does. Please note though that if you haven't watched the previous two videos, they should be in a playlist, so definitely go back and watch those videos. This is a sequential series, so you have to watch it in sequence. Anyway, so remember, the goal here is just to get a base theme and show you the real basics of what's required here. So the whole point of this thing is that when we look at the page in a minute, there's no style in it. It's just the basic Concrete5 stuff that you need. So we're just gonna step through to the files one by one. Okay, so if I open up our Concrete5 site, and you can see how bare bones this is, right? If we go to dashboard and themes, let's first start with what generates this theme information here. Well, that's really simple. All that information is contained within the description.txt file, and that's the first line of the file is always the theme name, and the second line is the theme description. So as long as you've got that, you'll be able to create a theme description file. What else is generating that graphic? Well, generating the graphic is this thumbnail.png file, and I just chose a PNG because that's what came with the standard theme that I stripped all this away from. But I don't know whether it accepts any other file formats. What I do know though is that this file has to be 120 wide by 90 high, so definitely keep that in mind. So we've looked at what takes care of all this area here, but what actually generates stuff. Well, let's talk a little bit about the philosophy of Concrete5 theming first. Much like WordPress or the new version of Drupal, some of the theme files are modular in the fact that they are included on multiple pages, and they're just regular HTML with bits of PHP snippets included in there to look to insert the Concrete5 content. But if we look at one of the files, say our default.php file, that is what is generating this particular area here. We'll talk about the syntax in a minute, but you notice here and here we're including the header file and the footer file, and this is the proprietary Concrete5 syntax. To do that, we're including the header and the footer, so they get appended before and after what is in each individual file, and what file gets used to display a given page is dependent upon what type of page it is. We'll get into that a little bit more when we talk about page type. But this first line is just making sure that we do indeed have Concrete5 and it's all set up to run properly. That's included in pretty much all Concrete5 theme files, as are the header and the footer files. So let's look at the header file first, because there's some important stuff going on there. Again, we've got that first line with the checking that we've got Concrete5 HTML5.type. This is a standard HTML5 theme. We're dynamically printing the language, so if you're making a theme for public consumption, people can install Concrete5 in more than one language, so we're making sure we get the right language there. And then obviously we have a head section, and in that head section we don't have much. We don't even have a title tag. All we have is a custom style sheet. But then we have a call to this loader PHP snippet, and what that does is it's built into Concrete5, and what that's saying is get what's required for the header of every page, and this is worked out dynamically by Concrete5 when it loads a page. Get whatever is required for that page and should be in the header and put it there. Notice my custom CSS file is loaded afterwards in there, so that I can override anything that I want that's set by the set by Concrete5 that I want to override. Notice when we echo the style sheet path, we don't just put in a regular path. We say echo out the style sheet URL for the main.css file, because this theme people can install Concrete5 in all weird places. So when you're including JavaScript and stuff, remember not to load, just put the URL in automatically, just like you would in a static page. There's these functions, get a style sheet specifically for any style sheet, but there's also get theme path in the same sort of camel case format that you'd use to load any external scripts or anything. So let's have a look at what that loader function, what that header required gives us. Remember, there's only two lines in that head section? Well, first of all, we've got our style sheet in there, which is right at the bottom of the head section, like we wanted. But then we got all this other we've got a title tag for one thing. We've got all sorts of meta information. All that is generated by Concrete5, so it needs to have that that header required function loaded, so that it can know where the header of your theme is, and so it knows where to put all that stuff. And similarly, as we'll see in a minute, there's another one for the footer, to load the footer stuff and do the same thing. So pretty much all the rest of this is standard stuff. We've got HTML5 header element. What this is you know how you can do inline editing in Concrete5 like we showed in the last video. What this div within inline style does is make sure that if we're in an editing mode, that's the point of this is edit mode method. If we're in editing mode and it wraps everything in a div which ends just before the header ends, that make sure we can have access to the editing controls. That's what this of, and then the styling for it, because that's not in my style sheet. The styling for it is added by Concrete5. Another reason why you need to include that loader just in your head section. Other than that, we've got some Concrete5 stuff here, but most of it's self-explanatory.
It's 14 hours.
All this area stuff means is Concrete5 uses the concept of areas, and all they are is places where you can put content. So to create a new area, we assign it to a variable, and we assign to that variable a new instance of the area class. This is just standard PHP stuff, and we give it a name, and then we say immediately after that we want to get that area and display the content that should be in it. I think that's what that means. And you'll see that a lot through Concrete5. You'll see it even in this file. But just so you know, I'm not gonna explain that again because throughout many files. So if at any time you're confused about what that means, just rewind back to this part of the video. And all this is I've made a custom link to output the site title, and we get the site block, and this is adding a block for a theme file, and we get the block object and find the one called my site name, and if it's there we display it. If it's not, we just echo the site name. But otherwise you can modify or that markup, and using that area syntax and that display syntax, you can get pretty much anything you need out of Concrete5. And the other thing you need to remember is that get theme path, and those are basically of Concrete5. The only other things you need to know to theme in are the structure of the files you need, which is why we're going through this now. But let's look at the footer. This just basically closes things out. This looks like a lot of things, but actually it's just a custom logic, and you can modify any of the. So all we do there is create some text that says powered by Concrete5. Notice we've got the check-in if Concrete5 can run again. That's on a lot of the files, and this is just some custom conditional logic. Really, this is for outputting that user link. We check if the user's logged in, and if they are, we give them a link so that they can go and edit the content, and if they're not, which is this else function, we just give them the username but no link, and we just close things off here. Notice we've got this footer required element, because we saw loads of stuff before, just like we did in the header that's getting applied to the footer, but that's not in the footer. That's really important so that it can add scripts that it needs to the bottom and things of that nature. So really we've covered the skeleton of the of a Concrete5 theme. The only other really important one that we haven't talked about is the default.php file. This is the default file for any Concrete5 page, or any page that doesn't have a custom template, because you can create custom templates according to page types, which is something we'll talk about when we do a video on page types. But this is placing the main content area in a section element, and placing the sidebar in a side element, and just grabbing the footer and grabbing the header, just to show you what those elements where those elements come into play. If I hit edit, you can see we've just got add to sidebar, add to header, add to head and add buttons that we saw in the previous video that you can just click on. So that's what those areas are. Just so you know, the reason why the sidebar's not on the side is because this is a base theme, and so there's no styling. That intention of this theme is so that to give you the tools to easily style it yourself. So you notice if we just click in one of them, we get the standard options that we saw last time. So all those areas are places you can add content, and they're pretty fundamental in Concrete5. So if you want to create a new area, you just assign it to a new variable, and then use the new area and you just display syntax. That's the essence of Concrete5 theme in really. And then the last file we need to know about is view.php. Now this is probably the most simple file of all. In fact, it is, which is why I've left it to last. We've still got the check to make sure we can use Concrete5. We still include the header. This print inner content function is the view.php file is intended for what are called static pages in Concrete5. And we're going to talk about them in a future video, but they're kind of a weird concept because they're not dynamically generated pages. They're just sort of one-off pages, like for a full page, and for a free page or a login page. They're one-off pages where the content doesn't really need to be dynamically generated. So that's all that needs to be in there. A side note is, if you want the static pages to be the same as other pages, you don't actually need to include the view.php file. Concrete5 will just inherit from the default.php file if the view file isn't there. And just to show you, I've just got some reset styles in there. I'll just actually write some CSS just to maybe make a bit more sense. So we'll just lay this out quickly. Obviously, this isn't specific to Concrete5, and it's how you style the CSS is totally up to you. So I'm not going to include this. In fact, it's not included in the theme that I made publicly available, but just to show in this video how you can get a layout going. So if we just float the aside element, once again, this really is just standard CSS stuff, but for people who aren't familiar with it, I just want to show you that because these the add to sidebar button is actually not a sidebar and it's the lowest thing in the chain, that doesn't mean you can't do it. So we just go float left, width, %, and then So that's, I mean, we've got some problems with floats here, but that's just to show you that you can make a layout. You notice we've got the sidebar here and then the main comment area here. That's just an issue with floating, which I'm not going to sort out now because this is not a CSS tutorial. That was just to show you that we can indeed apply any CSS we want, and it's just the depending on the markup that you've surrounded the PHP snippets in. But anyway, guys, that was an introduction to Concrete5 theming. I did want to show you this useful resource over on the Concrete5 website. It's at documentation/developer/pages/themes2, and it gives you an introduction to all the different files you can use. So I didn't go through all these files. I was just showing you the minimum, and yeah. So that was an introduction to Concrete5 theming, guys. Very simple. The theme that I mentioned is available on GitHub, and you can just download it, start playing with it, and use it for whatever you need. Customize it and do whatever you need with it. I'll put the URL for this in the description. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching this video. My website address is down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.